The majestic Quran. This was the second thing that made me want to learn more about Islam. So while I lived with the Muslim family that sparked my curiosity in Islam, what I noticed was the following. Here's what happened. Here was my introduction to the Quran. So I had just began to live with them. They would pray Fajr prayer, and every morning they would listen to the Quran. They would pray Fajr, and then they had a satellite dish. So they would play the Quran recitation from Mecca. And the first time I heard it, I was upstairs in the home, and they were on the main floor. I was getting ready for school, and I heard the recitation for the first time in my life. I was 24 years old. I heard the Quran. I had a physical reaction to what I heard. Every single hair on my body stood up. I had the full body goosebumps. I literally felt like a warmth in my chest, like just this feeling of warmth, like overcame like the inside of my chest. My heart was racing. It was racing because I had never heard this, and I was like, what is this? But at the same time, I felt the sense of peace that I had never, ever felt before. I didn't even know what I was hearing. I didn't know what the words meant. I didn't even know what it was. I just was hearing something that literally was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard in my life. And I was like, what is this? So I made my way down the stairs to the living room area where the family were sitting. And I basically was like, what am I hearing right now? Like, what is this? What is this? And they said, this is the Quran. And I said, what's the Quran? I know I'm so naive. I didn't know. And they said, these are God's words that you're hearing. And I knew when I heard it upstairs, like deep down inside, I knew that what I was hearing was not from this world. I knew that what I was hearing was something divine and way beyond anything that could ever be created in this world, right? Because of the physical reaction that I had to it. There was something also about like the rhythmic nature of the recitation, the way it sounded so poetic, but more than anything, like aside from your intellectual capacity to try to understand things, sometimes you just have to go with what your heart and your soul are telling you. So the emotional and physical reaction that I had when I first heard it sparked like a huge curiosity in me wanting to understand what I was hearing. I wanted to, read the Quran. I just wanted to know more. And I listened every morning. They would play it and I would listen to it, and it literally stole my heart, right? The beauty of it stole my heart. Because many people asked me to share my Revert convert story. I'm just going to talk about it a little bit here. This will be like the first part. My name is Shelley. I grew up in a small town in Northern Ontario in Canada. And I can tell you that I had zero exposure to Muslims in the small town that I lived in. To my knowledge, there were no Muslims that even lived in my small town. In the schools that I attended growing up, they never spoke about world religions. So I really only knew about the religion that I was raised in, that I grew up with, which was Catholicism. So when I later in life, left home to go to university to attend law school, I ended up living with a Muslim family. They were the first Muslims that I had ever met in my life. And here I was living with them. They were the kindest, most beautiful, sweetest people that I have ever met in my life. They treated me like a queen. They treated me like gold. No one had ever treated me as beautifully and with such kindness and generosity as this Muslim family that I lived with when I was going to university. And so I was in shock because I was like, who are these people? Like, what is this? I've never met people like this. And when I say that they were kind and generous, what I mean is it's like other level kindness. So let me give you an example. Like if, for example, like I would say, oh my gosh, I'm cold right now. Like I'm chilly. They would be like, if all they had in this world was the shirt that they had on their back, they would literally be like, take off the shirt off their back and be like, here. And they would give me their shirt. They would sacrifice their own comfort and happiness to make me happy and comfortable and to make sure that I would not be cold, right? So this was like other level stuff for me. I had never seen anything like this before. I had never met people like this before because in the world that I came from, although people were nice and also could be generous, it was never to the level of them sacrificing like their own comfort and happiness to help others. That's just what I experienced. So this was like next level stuff. And I was like, what is this? And who are these people? And I need to understand what makes them this way because I'm kind of like blown away right now, right? So I was like trying to figure it out and I watched them and it did not take very long before I figured out that it was their faith and being Muslim that made them this way. And it's because everything in their life was centered around their religion, right? And them following their religious obligations and praying 5 times a day and, just so many aspects of the faith. Everything, they've just lived their faith. So I saw very quickly that the way that they treated me they treated me that way because of what they believed in, because of their religion. And so I thought that was just beautiful. And it ignited like a flame of curiosity within me where I needed to understand what this religion was that they were following because I didn't know anything about it because of my upbringing, right? And where I came from. So I was like, I need to know more about this religion because I just can't wrap there must be something about this religion that is really special for these people to be so beautiful and special. And so that curiosity, like obviously led to me learning more about Islam, and asking a lot of questions and doing a lot of research. But there's way more to the story than that. This is just like the first part. I say this because if you are Muslim and you ever thought that the way that you act around other people, non-Muslims, the way that you act around other people does not have an influence or an impact on them, and that your character does not have an impact upon the people around you and what they think about your faith and being a Muslim, you're wrong, because it does, because it impacted me. It was one of the first things that led me to become curious about Islam and ultimately took me down the path of getting more information and learning more.
My beloved brothers and sisters, do dawah and call people towards Islam with kindness and sincerity. Many people only know Islam through what they hear or see in the media, and your gentle approach may be the first real example of Islam they ever encounter. When you speak with wisdom and compassion, you reflect the beauty of the message you are sharing. Calling others to Islam is not about arguing or forcing, it is about inviting. When you explain Islam patiently, answer questions respectfully, and show genuine concern for their understanding, you open their hearts to the truth. A calm and loving approach often reaches places that harsh words never can. Being nice to non-Muslims is a powerful form of dawah on its own. Good manners, honesty, generosity, and respect show them what Islam truly teaches. Sometimes your character alone becomes the message that softens a heart or clears a misunderstanding. People remember how you treat them long before they remember what you say, and you never know. Your kindness and efforts may be the reason someone accepts Islam. If they embrace the faith, Allah will reward you for every good deed they do for the rest of their life, even if they don't convert immediately. Your da'wah may plant a seed that grows later. So invite with love, speak with wisdom, and let Allah guide the hearts.